Service from International Programs. I'm Joan Kjaer, inviting you to stay with us as we learn about an exciting youth writing project in Iowa called Face to Face. We're coming to you from the Frank Conroy Reading Room of the University of Iowa's famed Writers' Workshop. This program is being recorded for statewide television and radio distribution over UITV, Iowa Public Radio, and KRUI-FM. It will also be available, along with all programs in the series, as a free podcast on iTunes. Our production partners are UITV, the Pentecrest Museums, KRUI 89.7, and Information Technology Services. Joining me for this first segment are a number of people I want to introduce to you right now. Dora Malik is right next to me. She's a writer, an educator, and the director of the Iowa Youth Writing Project. Joe Tiefenthaler, next to Dora, is the fall residency coordinator for the International Writing Program. Catherine Blauvelt is a recent graduate of the Iowa Writers' Workshop and a coordinator of the Iowa Youth Writing Project. And Emily Seipel, I hope I've said your name correctly and tell me if not. Emily Seipel is a UI senior who works for the IWP during its fall residency and Between the Lines summer program. So we have a lot to talk about here. I first of all need to find out what Face to Face is. What is this project? Dora, I'm going to go to you first.
So Face to Face is, sorry about that, can you hear me? Face to Face is a program that came about through a University of Iowa public engagement grant. And basically the Iowa Youth Writing Project is an outreach initiative of the Writers' Workshop and the community here in Iowa City. And it started as a really grassroots effort and sort of grew into a big volunteer base to basically bring language arts opportunities and the literary sort of cultural capital of the Iowa City and University of Iowa community out into the larger community of Iowa. And so Joe from the International Writing Program got in touch with us to apply for a public engagement grant for the International Writing Program to partner with a community group, that being the Youth Writing Project. And so we sort of dreamed up Face to Face as a way to both bring the kind of literary heritage of Iowa City out to the community, and also to introduce the community and communities of Iowa to the writers from the International Writing Program who are here for a couple of months in the fall semester, and to kind of give them an opportunity to get outside of Iowa City and meet some of the young writers in Iowa. And Joe can probably add a little more to that.
Yeah, the writers participating in our residency every year get a lot of opportunities to go visit college classrooms, adult audiences, and we've been looking for ways in which we could get them more geared towards youth. And there seem to be very few UI Mass emails I pay attention to in my inbox, but when this one came in, I just immediately shot it over to Dora because we've been we're very aware of the Youth Writing Project and have been wanting to work together for a couple of years now. And this was sort of the perfect way, and as Dora said, it gives our writers the chance to not only work with youth, but to get them across the state of Iowa. I'm a native Iowan and could not be happier to get them into various communities that are not quite like Iowa City.
Right. So how did you go about selecting the communities that would be taking part in this project and your students would have an opportunity to interact?
Picking the communities was a mixed bag, I guess. It was important for us for this project to go all over the state as far and wide as possible. So we went to Northwest Iowa, and we had some contacts in Northeast Iowa, and then Dora with the Youth Writing Project already had some existing contacts. I don't know if you want to talk about those partners.
Yeah, we also went to Des Moines and Ottumwa, and so it's not quite the four corners of Iowa, but it was sort of like a roughly four corners shape. And in Des Moines, we had the good fortune of working last year with Joy Lyle at Indian Hills Community College, and we'd worked with their Upward Bound program. And so we thought, okay, Indian Hills is this wonderful partner, and we had an amazing turnout there. And then in Des Moines, we'd been working with the Youth Writing Project with the group Monsoon United Asian Women of Iowa. And so to be able to kind of introduce the international writers into this sort of pre-existing equation of partnerships in different places was really wonderful.
Well, let's talk a little bit to Catherine and to Emily, and tell us what your roles were in this project. Catherine, let's start with you.
Okay, yeah. My role was to organize what was going on in the workshops. So I worked with the international writers and the team from the IYWP, and we put together different lessons. The theme was identity. Dived into what their names mean, what they know how to do, what it has to do with the land around them, their town, where they're from. It was an exchange, for me it was an exchange of knowledge, and I think for most people participating, because we were learning what about them and they're learning about us. There was a student that I worked with that did 4-H, and I'm not from Iowa, so I didn't know what that was, and it was just like, whoa, this is incredible. And it's a chance, too, to tell them how incredible they are and just sort of like bring to light all of their talents that already exist. And also working with words, giving them permission, like showing them a new way to express themselves to get it out.
And did you organize workshops in all of the locations, not just here?
With everyone, yeah. So we got together before each workshop and just discussed, like, okay, how do we want to go about writing this or that this week? Or it was cool.
Yeah, very cool. And Emily, what was your role?
Well, as a student at the university, it took me about like 1.5 or 2 years, I think, to really leave the campus. And yeah, once I just realized that there were just like these amazing sub-communities all over the city. Yeah, like my role for them, it was more important for me to be a neighbor or like figure out how to listen to them and hear their experience rather than just be a student in their city. And I guess I saw face-to-face as a way of making that vision even bigger, where I was looking at like, how do I fit into Iowa City? And this program really saw like, how does Iowa City fit into Iowa? And so I just got to help with some of the planning, some of the workshop planning, and then I really prefer just to like talk one-on-one with the students and just help them if they have questions, and yeah, getting to know them is amazing. So.
So what kind of participation, Dora and Joe, did you have from interested students around the state?
So participation from around the state, we basically, I mean, we sort of didn't know what to expect, who to expect, and I think the most amazing thing in terms of participation is to see on all levels how diverse Iowa is. I think that, talking with some of the international writing program writers who are here, I think there might be this sense of Iowa looks this way or Iowa sounds this way, or just a big abstract, just a big sort of blur that you fly over. And to actually meet, to meet youth, and these are from preteen to teenage years, and just sort of hear about where they've come from, their journeys to come to Iowa, whether they're born in Iowa or whether they've come from elsewhere. And to just kind of, we called it face-to-face, sort of just trying to think of a title, but it really ended up actually saying a lot about the program in the sense of having having the faces of Iowa and the minds of Iowa, the youth of Iowa, become so much less abstract, and just to meet these amazing young people. And like Catherine's saying, in terms of knowledge, just what they know and what they experience, it was fantastic. And both in rural communities and urban communities, and that kind of diversity, religious diversity, all different kinds of diversity. So I think that was really the most amazing thing about the participants that came to this.
Yeah, well, I think in total too, there were more than 70 students.
Yeah.
In the age ranges of 12 to 18, and we're now talking with undergraduates at Iowa, faculty at Iowa, staff at Iowa. Some of the graduates from the Writers' Workshop, some current students in the workshop. So it was really a mixed bag of people in a classroom.
Well, for someone who may be watching this program who doesn't live in this area, maybe doesn't know much about the Iowa Youth Writing Project or about the International Writing Program, let's just give a little short summary of what you do year-long with the Iowa Youth Writing Project and what the International Writing Program is and what it means to this state.
So the Iowa Youth Writing Project it's a nonprofit language arts outreach organization, and it sort of has one foot in the community and one foot in the university. And and so essentially, we feel like there are enrichment programs, but this is more than that. I mean, it's a community building program, and it's about empowering and inspiring young people to use their voices to achieve their own goals now and for the rest of their lives. And so this isn't sort of the writer's workshop for kids. It's not sort of saying you all need to be poets or fiction writers. It's more saying, here's language, here's this tool that we all use, we all need to know how to use, and we all should feel is our right, not a privilege, but a right to be able to use our voices to achieve our goals. And in terms of doing that, Catherine was talking about the exercises that she planned. We like to keep it fun and keep it weird. And so, for example, we're talking about identity. But if you walk into a room and say, "Tell me about your identity," that's a pretty good way to have brains shut down and be daunted by that. So writers like Catherine went to the Writers' Workshop, or her co-leaders, Montreux Rothholtz and Fatima Espiritu, basically brainstormed together and thought of, okay, if we don't want to come in at identity through the front door, where are all these crazy side doors and windows and chimneys that we can come in through? And they sort of invent these exercises inspired by their own practice as creative writers that hopefully give both permission to students, saying you can be funny, you can be wild, you can use your imagination, and also you can use these tools of language and creativity to achieve your goals, not just on the paper, but in the rest of your lives.
The International Writing Program, I always like to say, it was conceived really on a rowboat in the middle of Lake McBride in about 1965 or 1966. Then director of the Writers' Workshop, Paul Engel, was on the boat with his wife, or soon-to-be wife, Walling Nia, and she just turned to him and said, "You should do this, but with international writers." He kind of said, "You're crazy, that would never work." Nevertheless, they started this program in 1967, and in those 45 years, we have hosted over 1,400 writers from more than 135 countries. And now the program, it's gone through a lot of shapes. It used to be a year long, and it was 6 months long. It's gone through various housing developments. But now it is a 10-week program where they get 8 weeks in Iowa City, 2 weeks of travel around the United States to go visit other literary communities. And we're almost at a close, and so it's been a very quick fall.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to have a chance to speak to some of the International Writing Program writers who are visiting this fall, and also with some of the students who took part in this workshop in just a minute here, so we look forward to that. But Emily, tell me something. You are still an undergraduate here at the University of Iowa, and was writing always a big part of your life?
Yeah, definitely. That's why I decided to come to the university. And I've heard that from so many people too, and just coming here and seeing that there is a community of writers. But I think that was kind of probably why I started looking off the campus. That was sort of my crisis, like, there's this community of writers, but I'm in a bigger community. So yeah, just being able to use writing as a way to hear from people that I wouldn't even normally hear from in this community of writers that I had come to study with has been really great. Mm-hmm. So part of what I wanted to do with the project, Face to Face, was to invite voices from Iowa City. And so even with us today, there's 2 students from a neighborhood really close to me, and that was really special to get to bring them here.
Yeah, great. Well, we're going to be hearing some of these writings, as I said earlier. Did you have rules set up within the workshop so that part of the day is spent, for example, creating poetry, or part of it is writing a narrative, or any way somebody wanted to use language, 140 characters or less? Could they do anything they wanted to do?
No rules.
No rules.
No wrong answers. We came in with like a bunch of different props and examples and showed them. Maybe, we would read a poem and then how to pick apart it in certain ways. Like they collage together images from their home, the outside, the sky, and like how this particular writer put their piece together. And then we said, this is one way you could approach the exercise. But if something rang true, they wanted to discuss their feelings about a saying that their mom always used to say to them and how that's a part of their identity. We were like, go with it, be wild that way too.
Yeah.
So it was really amazing to see how all of the students tackled just identity, who they are, and just, it was cool.
Yeah. So what was the biggest surprise that you two witnessed during this whole thing?
the talent. Following this last question, I just keep thinking of the room in Okoboji when you would have Ashley, she would be writing this beautiful poetry, and this other participant was writing, it's cat fan fiction, what was?
Cat fan fiction.
Yeah, so she was writing fan fiction and someone else was writing like other beautiful prose, and everything was just wonderful. Yeah. It's pretty amazing and humbling in a way, and very frightening how much better they are at writing than like I am.
Yeah. Why, Dora, is creative writing a tool that helps unlock a young student, an older person? I mean, what is it about creative writing that makes this a really good way to build community?
That's a really big question, and I think that there would be different answers for different people. I think that in the most basic sense, language is a tool that we all use, and I think that to take this tool that it's using something that's already in our heads. We have language in our heads. You don't have to pay for it per word. You don't have to, have special supplies to do it. Essentially, it really does belong to all of us. And so to have this organization of volunteers who believe in, so that they're doing things from a place inside of themselves, using this tool, language that comes from a place inside of themselves to connect with other people outside of themselves, is kind of this amazing paradox. And then the idea of putting it on paper, putting that communication on paper, it can have this life outside of yourself. It can go, it can travel. And so I think that in that sense, it belongs to everybody. And there's something wonderfully subversive about that too. So yes, people get degrees, people go to college, people go to graduate school, but this is sort of about saying you don't need a seal of approval. This belongs to you already. This is already yours to express yourself.
Mm-hmm. Did you find that some of the students had already done an awful lot of writing on their own, that they had maybe just kind of kept to themselves until they had an opportunity to kind of let it out? Did you hear any anecdotal stories from students you were working with?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. We were doing one exercise in Iowa City about names, and this one student was like, I have an idea for a book, and I've been working on a book at home. Can I just write about that instead? I was like, yes, please, just keep finishing your book. And it was wonderful, and it was about some made-up land, and he's in front of me, so he's a little nervous. But yeah, it was great when they just would start running with something in a completely new direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. And the students were aged between 12 and 18, you said? Was there sort of a most common age group, or really went the whole gamut?
It really ran the whole gamut, and I would say maybe sort of between 14 and 16 was the common age. But I have to say, and this is sort of tied into what people are saying, and that age range, I think we were a little bit concerned thinking, when with other youth writing project activities, we've sort of wondered, okay, if there are kids with this age range in the room, that's not sort of traditional. You go by grade, and you stick to that grade. And so one of the beauties of having kids across an age range, a geographical range, all these different kind of diversities, is seeing not just the talent, but the kindness. Like I just saw I'm going to make them embarrassed, but two young men who just met each other for the first time, and one was hearing the other's story or book being talked about, and there's like an elbow, like, man, that's you, and so just seeing like the kind. I mean, I know we say, oh, kids are our future, et cetera, but this is like in the least abstract way. There is so much empathy and so much thought and compassion that comes out through this kind of shared trust and expression of, okay, we're all here to express ourselves. We're here on this is a Saturday. We're here outside of school. We chose to be here because we have these things going on inside of us, or we're just curious about the world. We want to get out there and check it out for ourselves. So that's really kind of amazing to see.
Well, and so much of that was brought right to them. The writers from the program that went on these excursions were, 12 or 13 writers, each of them from a different country. It was, New Zealand and Botswana and Burma and Iraq, and so the kids were working directly one-on-one with some of the world's best writers.
Yeah, and the kids recognized that they were working with a real pro here, huh?
I hope so.
I think they did. I think they did. Well, we're going to hear some of the work that the students put together, and I wonder if you can help lead us into this next segment. Perhaps that should be you, Catherine. Tell us, this will be the kids will come up and do their collaborative work, and then we have a couple of individual writers, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the students that we work with today created for you a word choir, and there's just, I mean, I guess I'll just let them tell you what it is when they're up here. It's a mingling of their worlds together, and then we're going to hear from a couple of individuals.
And the format is that they all worked, everybody contributed a line to one large piece.
Mm-hmm. They weaved in these different details about their world, so
Okay.
I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
It's so exciting.
All right. Well, we're going to get ready then, and
Okay.
we'll set the students up here at the end microphone, and Joe will help us get started. So for this, for just now anyway, I'll say thank you to Emily Seifel and to Catherine Blauvelt and to Joe Tiefenthaler and to Dora Malik. Please give them a hand.
Wow, thank you.
If a diner were to name a sandwich after me, it'd have burned chocolate and burned brownies in it because I love the smell and taste.
My three talents are drawing, basketball, and music.
Catwoman has eaten like a wolf after running after a fox. Ow!
In my town, everyone knows everyone. We're family.
Shh. A ballet describes me. There's emotion, there's thought, there's lives are drawn within their moves. Every move describes me as the same for themselves.
My sky is many colors, but mainly soft pink and bright orange.
I love laughing a lot because laughing makes people's day. Although people tell me to stop or calm down, that doesn't stop me. Nothing or no one will make me who I'm not to be.
My constellation would be a lion drinking monster because I love lions and monster. Lions are scary and I like their manes.
My room is an art gallery, full of colors and full of drawings.
My zoo is mine to be, and lions are everywhere to see.
The holidays in my family smell like pecan pie, low lipstick, and a birch tree.
If I could describe my town in one word, I'd use swoosh or zoom. Cars zoom by my house every time of the day.
If I was a character from a book, I would be Aragon.
She runs toward her twin, chilling on a dirt road.
My hometown crackles with excitement.
Zap! I'm old, my hands are wrinkled, my body's worn out, but as I stare at myself, I see within my eyes the peace and the joy of all that I've gone through. I go.
When I graduate college, I want to become a missionary to Brazil because I love teaching kids.
Coming from FedEx is a huge lie. My brother bothers me about it. The thing is, he doesn't notice he's from UPS. Just kidding.
My dance move is picking grass because I like picking grass. The grass is slippery and it smells like happiness.
My sky is vibrant, blue, red, pink, lots of colors.
If I were to describe what I see in my town every day, I would describe a cow eating hay.
The sound of my future is a roaring sea.
Our future. The sound of my future is the goal smashing into the net. It's the soccer.
Great, great.
The sound of my future is woohoo!
The sound of my future is
The smell of my home is strong with incense, and it burns my nose with the scent of strong lavender and delicate vanilla.
Well, I guess my sound of my future is anything, really. I don't know.
The sound of my future is singing.
The sound of my future is sizzle.
The sound of my future is roar.
The sound of my future is do-do-do-do-do.
The sound of my future is yay!
Terrific. Thank you to everybody. And I think a couple of you are going to come over and sit down and read something else for us. Is that right? Annalisa and, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, so please come sit with us. And everybody else, thank you very much. And please go back to your seats and we'll catch up with you later. Great. So, listen, we have a number of people who are going to read a little bit more that they've written. And let me ask you to tell us your name, where you're from, and then read something for us.
So do it.
Please.
Mm-hmm. Okay. My name is Paige Evans, and I'm from Eldon, Iowa. The thing I'm going to be reading is called My Paradise. Okay. The evergreen trees making a canopy like the sea. The leaves are rustling like waves making a soothing sound. It feels like riding in a car on a warm day. We all talk like we've been best friends forever. Laughter and joy fills my ears. The birds making a lovely melody as they soar the bright blue sky. Everyone can be themselves without acting. No makeup, nothing to cover up the real you. Everyone is wearing whatever they are most comfortable in. Sorry. Okay. The smell of fresh flowers is amazing. Everything is making conversation. The delightful sound of a piano is among us. The sunset is a beautiful mix of colors, purple, orange, blue. I am writing like I've never wrote before. My writing is my canvas.
Thank you very much, Paige. Thanks. Hi, please introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Beverly Santiago, and I will be reading one of my poems called My Name. And it goes like this. Beverly Julie Santiago Sanchez, that's my name. Born in Puerto Rico in a rainy morning, my mom and dad stared at me as I lay on a warm, cozy blanket. As I grew up and become a young adult, my name started to make sense. Definition of Beverly means a group of beavers, but my loving mom named me Beverly because as I lay on that cozy blanket, my mother stared at me and said, "Rich, my girl, you will become famous as those that live in Beverly Hills." But what about Julie? Is it not one of the months of the year? My mom will pronounce it Julie, but as English person reads my name, they pronounce it July. Sanchez sounds more like a very adult-like, but I don't mind. Santiago, my real father's last name in which I'm disappointed. Why have Santiago as my name? My dad doesn't write to me, call me, or even send a photo of himself. Every time I see that name, it makes me feel sad, gloomy, disappointed, mad, and overflowing of tears. Tears that fill my cup and which might shatter to pieces. Me, as a young adult, as I stare at my name, Beverly Julie Santiago Sanchez, I am grateful for it. Because then who will I be without it?
Thank you, Beverly. Hi, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I
am Julia Peace. I'm from Ottumwa, and my essay does not necessarily have a name. I am of the Amazon, the rainforest so lush and green, exotic fruits and foods and animals that I see or eat every day. I am of the piranhas, fish that I eat, and the giant caiman skull on my father's study desk. I am of family stories from my great-grandpa down to me. I feel responsible to keep them for the next few generations. I am of the dozens of drawing in my folder that I have drawn for the last few months.
Thank you. Hi. What's your name?
It's too big on me. My name is Miguel Santiago, and I'm her brother, of course. And before I start, I want to say how beautiful you look.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, my poem is called What I Know. Okay, so, sorry. We all have something we know how to do. We all have talents for ourselves. I, in that case, know something that some people may not know what to do. Some could draw, others could paint, but have my world to draw. I know that when I draw to put my feelings and problems away to another world. Drawing is what I know how to do. It's my key to getting a world that nobody has seen, just me. I have people, friends, telling me to draw them a picture. I do draw them, but I see something in them when I draw. I draw what I see in them. It's what I know how to do. It's what I'm born with, a pencil in my hand and a paper on the other hand. It's what I know how to do best. It's like making music, except I'm making drawings with songs not heard.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Miguel.
Anytime.
and please.
Hi, my name's Julianne Wyckoff, and I'm 13, and I am from Eldon, Iowa. And I'm going to be reading my name. My name is Julianne. It means a long, thin cut in the cooking world, to be exact. I was named after Julianne Hough for singing and dancing when I was little. I do not like my name, for it is long and boring. I'd rather have a name like Victoria. The name is the name I have always wanted. It's like if Victoria is taken seriously, unlike Julianne. I imagine of Victoria as a long, tall, brown-haired girl, looking for adventure and excitement. The name Julianne is like being locked in a tower waiting to see the sun. And my name is Julianne and will always be Julianne.
Thanks very much.
Hi, I'm Gracie, and I'm from Kyoto, and my poem is titled The Essence of Reality. Being in love but getting heartbroken, wanting to travel but having nowhere to go, trying to be real but acting fake, trying to save but drown, trying to inspire but fail, trying to smile but frown, having a home but no family, being strong but getting hurt, having light but no shine, having thoughts but can't express, having rain but no shine, wanting to be wanted but having no time.
Thanks a lot. Yes, please.
Hello, my name is Anastasia Shurpitskaya, and I'm an exchange student from Russia here. Now, the following year, I will be staying in Keswick, Iowa. And the short story I have is an answer for a question who I am. I am a tree with a trunk of olive oil and with branches of wheat, and two seas shining as you see them. I'm an umbrella and a room for my friends, a sponge for those who have too much, and a rain for those who've lost. I'm a bird for my grandmother, a mirror for my cousin, a yellow storm for my best friend, a heart for my teachers, a porcupine for my enemies, an old town for strangers, a compass for those who've lost, a stars for those who want to reach me, a hotel for those who walk away from me, and I'm another person for myself.
Thank you. Let's give him a hand. Just stay there. So let me just ask anybody who wants to answer the question, what has it been like for you to sit down in a room with not only teachers and international writers you've never met before, but also students, some of you originally from other countries? What has it been like to sit down and sort of go through this whole process and come up with your own thoughts on paper? Perhaps you'd like to answer.
Yeah, sure. Well, as I say, I'm Beverly. Well, it is kind of awesome to see how people normally write their feelings, their emotions, their thoughts in a piece of paper. Like, you see other people and you know, their expression, their emotion might be through music, through, you know, instruments, through sports, even sports, through different kind of things. But as for myself, my expression is writing. And even though a person can't say a lot through, you know, voice, as you read their papers, as you listen to them, you can really see their personality, their emotions, who they really are. And they say a lot through paper than, you know, just having the speech and everything. And it's kind of awesome to get to meet other people from other countries, especially when their accents are really awesome. I have to admit, I love people that have different accents or anything, but in different ideas, like they'll come and, you know, maybe give you a better idea, and, you know, it's your choice to accept it or not. But like, I learned that if you accept it and you try it out, you can see for yourself their different point of view on how, you know, write down your emotions, write down what you feel.
Thanks, Beverly. Are there some things that you are happy to share in public or even into a microphone? Like today, you've been reading some of your writings, but do some of you have a whole other kind of writing that you do only for yourself that you don't really want anyone else to read?
Okay, so I'll go. Well, I'm gonna be honest. Writing was not my thing. I did not like it. I thought it was boring. I thought it was just bad. It's like prison. But when I signed up for this writing program, I learned that writing is not just about doing your homework or doing what a teacher tells you to do. It's also about putting your feelings on a paper and making stuff up or making things that you see in your mind while other people can't see. So pretty much writing is one of those tools that helps you meditate on what you want to do or what you want to think about your life or what you want to do when you grow up. Or it's everything. If you write one word, then you could just start a sentence with it. So writing is just a simple tool that I just learned, and now I'm starting to like in writing. I'm gonna start doing my homework assignments now for English, but yeah. So I think writing is one of those tools that could help young teenagers that are having problems focus on what they're doing. It because it's one of the things that it's big in the world that we use these days.
Right. So I know that in your ordinary classrooms, obviously there are lesson assignments you'll be given where there is a format you're supposed to follow. Maybe you're supposed to work on poetry or on narrative or something. But as we heard earlier from your teachers, this was an opportunity to do whatever you wanted to do, no rules. You choose what you want to say and how you want to say it. Was that important to the workshop, to have that freedom?
Yeah, it was for me because I don't like rules, but no, just kidding, I do like rules. My teacher, she came out to me and we had this assignment of fiction. Then we had to write for a book, and I made a fiction story in about the year of 2081. And she said that I should come and try this thing out because I have a talent for writing, and I didn't even know. She came and told me that, so I decided to take this big step on it and just do it because I really don't know what I'm going to do after high school. I only have 1 year left of school left, so it's pretty much I got to start thinking what I'm going to do. So I think writing could be one of the benefits that I could help people with.
Fantastic. Great. And is there something you'd like to say? What has this done for you?
It's helped me write because my life is really silent. Like, my family doesn't talk a lot. My sister has cancer, so there's lots of, like, not really, we can't do a lot. Yeah. So it's really silent, so I write to speak out what I can't say. And, like, my English teacher, like, she does have rules, and so when we had no rules, it was kind of hard for me because I stick by the rules. And, like, with my teacher, she'll say, like, stick to nonfiction or stick to fiction,
And when you have no rules, other people take it as an advantage to do whatever, and it was kind of hard for me to start out writing. But I enjoyed coming here, and I thank my teacher for telling me to. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anybody else who wants to say something while you're all here? We're really grateful to hear what you had written, and thank you very much. Yes, Anastasia? Mm-hmm.
Well, I also really thank this program for this experience. I'm staying here not for a long time so far, and that was the greatest experience I had here. And I also did like that there weren't any rules, and I think that what helped people accept the writings of the others. And because if there were rules, it distracts people from understanding. So I think. So thank you very much for inviting us here and placing us here. That was really, really great.
Yeah, and thank you all. Please, big hand for our guests. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, as everybody gets settled here, I'm going to invite our final group of guests up. Catherine and Dora and Emily, will ask you to come back up as well. And I think we have a couple of guests from the International Writing Program. And so please come on up and take these seats next to me here. Hi. Hi. So we have a rose among thorns, and you are Jeffrey. Jeffrey, please introduce yourself to us.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Paparoa-Horman, and I'm from New Zealand. So it's very nice to be here, and tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa, rangatahi mā, tamariki mā, kia kaha, kia ua, kia maia, ki tō mahi rangatira, nā reira tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa, which I just said to you. Hello, you young guys, young people. Be strong in your work. It's a chiefly work. It's an honourable profession, so just go for it. Yeah. How's that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Thanks, Jeffrey. And hello, TJ.
Yes. My name is TJ Dema, and I write poetry, and I come from Botswana, and I'm here in Iowa City for 10 weeks as part of the International Writing Program.
Yeah, wonderful to have you both here, and we've already met Catherine and Emily and Dora. And so in this segment, I just wanted to get some feedback from you. You are both professional writers, and you're here for this long residency with the International Writing Program, which now is almost at the end, may not feel like quite long enough, but you've had this experience with IYWP students and here on our campus and around the state in various visits. Could you give me some top-line reactions to this project, working with students who are just kind of putting their voices out there, maybe for some for the first time? I'll go to you first, TJ.
I mean, sometimes something is so obvious that it makes it very difficult to actually articulate on it. Like, to me, it's common sense that if you want to preserve any kind of skill or knowledge or tool, that you would pass it down to the next generation. Because if we do right by them, they will be here longer than us, right? And if we want them to understand that certain things are important to us, then they should be important enough for us to entrust those things, you know, to them. And I think that's what Face to Face is basically doing. There's this amazing pool of skills and knowledge in Iowa City. I mean, you cannot throw a stone in the city without hitting a writer, a poet, you know, a publisher, and, you know, where they fall down, there'll be 3 more waiting to take on their publishing contract. I mean, it's just, it's amazing, you know, the kind of conversations that happen in the city, in the pubs, in the bars, and I'm sure in the classrooms as well, and certainly within the International Writing Program, you know, the pool of writers who've come here for the IWP. And so it was amazing to see that this isn't just kind of a special thing that happens for 30 writers who come into the city, but that we are able to engage with the community, and especially for me, that we're able to engage with young members of the community in Iowa and just learn as much from them really as they are from us. So.
And so what is your life like in Botswana? What is your work there?
I mean, when I'm not writing poetry, I'm sure that question comes up a lot of whether writing is actually legitimate work or whether we're just lying on a hammock somewhere waiting for some god to channel, you know, the words through us. But I assure you it's a lot of work. And when I'm not doing that, I actually run a small arts administration company. And with that, basically we work with writers, we run workshops for young people in Botswana. We manage writers, help them with the administration and the contracts and just kind of planning their trajectory. You know, you should probably be reading this, you should probably apply to that program. If you're interested in running workshops or facilitating workshops, this is probably the book you should read. So it's kind of a small community, really, within a corporate setup, just because I'm a control freak and I like to know what's going to happen and how. So so that's I run that company when I'm back in Botswana.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Well, let me turn to Jeffrey. What is your life like when you're back in New Zealand? What is your daily preoccupation?
At the moment, getting back on my own bed and sleeping. Sounds strange. No, living in a hotel has been difficult. And I also come from an earthquake zone. So for the last 2 years, we've had severe earthquakes in New Zealand. So you know, if you have enough of them, you don't sleep. And so, my life in New Zealand, goodness. You know, I was just thinking, looking at the young people here, it's probably hard for them to believe, but I was there once where they're sitting, same age, roughly, been through it all, and one day they'll be where I am. I guess if you passed me on the street and didn't know me or know anything about me, and you were on your business and I was on mine, it would just be another old guy, right? And that's good. I mean, that's the way life is. But life is personal, and you know, each one of you are an infinite point in the universe. Each person, to me, is unique, and that involves a view of storytelling. Okay, so if I tell you something of my story now, I'm telling you an individual story. Others could tell something like that, but it wouldn't be quite exactly the way I am. I came from a small coal mining town, right? About 1,000 people. And I was in primary school when I wrote my first poem, I can remember. And I can remember some bits of it, and they're the important bits. From about 10 years of age, I was obsessed with aeroplanes. And I noticed today, walking through Iowa City, there were about 8 turkey buzzards flying over the town, because I look at that stuff. That's what I look at. Movement in the air, and you might think, where's he going with this? Well, I wrote this poem about the Wright brothers, who, as you know, ran a bicycle shop in Dayton, Ohio. Did you know that? And they were able, because of their engineering skill, to make a light engine which was able to be got off the ground. And because it's not the power of the engine that lifts the aeroplane, it's the lift, the change in the air pressure under the wings. How do I know this? Because I'm obsessive about aeroplanes. Okay, so I wrote this poem, and it goes like this, in 2 parts. I miss out the middle. On a windy day in 1903 at Kitty Hawk Sands down by the sea. I forget the middle, but I know how it ends. Right? The brothers had done what they set out to do in a plane made of paper and stuck down with glue. And that's pretty crude, isn't it? Or is it? No, it's got several things going that you know about. It has a beginning and it has an end, and also knows that poetry, as I perceived it then, had rhythm and rhyme. So I got these ideas from somewhere, and I got one through reading, okay, and I'm telling you this for your own benefit, and the second I got through my own experience. I'd read about the Wright brothers, and I'd built model airplanes. Put the two together, I made a poem. So today, a long way from that, I'm sitting in a university building in Christchurch, New Zealand, hoping that it won't shake again, and I'm in an office, and I'm looking at a computer, and I'm still writing poetry. So, you know, my place in the universe today outwardly looks like an old guy on the point of retirement, sitting in an office in a university, plugging in computer keys. There are millions of us throughout the world like that. But I'm still that same person, an embryo that I was back then. So, you know, I just think it's very exciting to be here today and see these guys. And I remember Miguel from my class and Juliet, and I remember seeing others of you performing at the end. You know, and it would have been great if we'd had something like this when I was 12 or 13 in high school. But I did have an English teacher who could see that I could write. And he was an amazing guy because he was a writer himself, fortunately, for me. And he would bring his writing drafts along to school, right? You know about revision, when you write something and you have to rewrite it? Yeah, you're all nodding. Because nothing comes out perfect. It's all work. And he showed us these drafts, yeah? And for the first time in my life, I saw what a working writer does at the age of 14. So it wasn't a creative writing class as such, it was an English class. So somewhere between the Wright brothers and there and where I am now is a sort of slowly developing writing. I won't call it a career, I hate that word. I mean, you know, writing isn't a career, especially if you're a poet. You know, you may as well burn money or bungee jump without a rope. You know, there's no future in writing poetry for money. But you're the future, I guess. That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and so what was, you've both talked about how fun it was to work with these young people, but you've also gone out, were both of you out in one of the more distant locations in Iowa for the workshops? TJ, did you go to one of the locations?
Yes, I went out to Spirit Lake, to Okoboji, and to Fayette. Is that how you say it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get my pronunciation right, but yeah.
Yeah, so you saw a good span of Iowa as you drove out there.
Yes, and it reminded me more of home probably than Iowa City because I come from corn country and cattle country, so kind of that was very comforting because knowing that you're going to face a room full of teenagers can be quite a daunting feeling, you know. They're so smart, and you know, you heard from their reading, their imagery is so strong, and they think through things very carefully, but in an instinctive way, you know, that, and I think it's important, that's why it's important to have the conversations with them at that age and to say, you're already doing it right, just, you know, just keep doing that. You just need to keep doing more of what you're already doing instinctively. But yeah, beautiful views, driving in and out of Iowa. I think maybe I probably should have done more of that. I might have gotten more writing done if I just sat in the back of some car and had a chauffeur. And I'm looking here at Joe Tiefenthaler from the IYWP to hint heavily for the next set of writers.
Yeah, and what would you say? Where did you go for the workshop? Did you leave town?
We went to Tumwa and Indian Hills College.
Wonderful.
Right? Yeah. We nearly didn't get there because we had a driver, but our navigator didn't turn up. And our driver was sitting there saying, I need an escort. I thought, what does she mean? Are there going to be people there with guns? But she just didn't know how to get to Tumwa. And finally she made a phone call and kind of, I navigated us there with my iPhone. So we got there late and had to sort of jump into a couple of other classes. So we were just sitting there really and watching the leaders of the class who are here today and trying to help a little bit. Yeah. And we had Milagros Socorro from Venezuela with us, and we told the young people a few stories as well. And then, you know, I even joined in and wrote some poems. So really I just think I was a class member. But it was important to be there simply because, you know, we're supporting and mentoring, even just by being there. You know, that same school teacher, there are a lot of stories about kids or writers pursuing other writers, like, you know, Robert Lowell went down south to Alan Tate and lived in his house, and Brodsky escaped from Russia and came over and, you know, camped on W.H. Auden's lawn. Now, these names mean nothing to you, but to me they're important because I chased my school teacher. When school was finished and I was working, I went out and knocked on his door and said, can I visit you? You know? So, you know, you need support, and he supported me for many years. Because there's a condition in writing, you know, that I've experienced where you can be confident and egotistical, and deep down you think you'll never write again. And if you guys keep writing, you'll never escape that tension between thinking I can do it, knowing you can do it, and wondering if you can. And you can only prove that by doing it every day, which is, I think TJ mentioned something about practice. You know, you've got to keep writing. So it's part of helping people see themselves as writers. You know, it wasn't until I was about 30 where this teacher said to me, you know, you are a writer. And I thought, oh, really? I didn't have much confidence. But confidence isn't necessarily the greatest asset. I think humility and the willingness to learn and be taught, but also to read. You know, I think I always read, even when you can't be in a creative writing class or getting bored. You can always read. You know. And if you're a writer, I think, you know, you just will read naturally, and something of that will rub off. So one thing I said in the class is encouraging the kids to read,
Yeah.
you know, to find models. And you'll find what we call a strong ancestor, you know, someone who really, really talks to you. And so you absorb that person, write like them, do all that stuff, and eventually you have to kill them. But, you know, they're very important on that journey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is probably a bit above your heads, but, you know, you have to find people that mean something to you as writers, in my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like your writing teachers,
Right.
not just the human beings you meet in class.
Mm. So, Dora, as we come to the end of the discussion here today, I want to bring you back to those of you who organized this project, at least those of you who are here at the mic. It seems to me as though this has been a very productive activity. I mean, is there hope that as time goes on, these kinds of get-togethers can continue to happen, and that the Youth Writing Project and IWP may on a yearly basis be able to put some of these workshops together?
So I would very much hope that that's the case, and that we can do this again next year and start building relationships between communities and between generations. And I think that this program, we were lucky to have the public engagement grant. We were lucky to have the partnership from the IWP. But I have to say, just for the record, this is sort of the tip of the iceberg of these kind of grassroots efforts of people like Catherine and Emily, who believe that writing is something that has a relationship with the community and belongs in the community and believes that young people's voices are valuable. So I believe that the specific face-to-face program will happen again, but I also am really looking forward to manifestations of programs like this through the Youth Writing Project in communities here in Iowa City and all over Iowa. So I'm just very excited about the future of these young writers and the future of the Youth Writing Project and the future in general.
Very good. Catherine, Emily, would you like to say anything to sort of wrap up the discussion about this year's project?
There will be more to come. I don't know. I think it's amazing. It's been incredible working with the young people, and I can't wait to continue working with you and others, all of Iowa.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
I was just thrilled to be a part of its first year, and yeah, I think everyone said what was really important, and I hope it keeps going.
Mm-hmm. Did I read that you are going to be working with one of the neighborhood groups here in Iowa City, one of the community centers? Is that Catherine, or is that you, Emily?
Unless you're doing it too, I don't know. Yeah, on Wednesdays for an after-school program at the Pheasant Ridge Neighborhood Center, I work with third graders, and then there's other Iowa Youth Writing Project volunteers working with kindergartners. So.
Fantastic, great. Well, let's have a hand for everybody here. This has been just wonderful. Yeah, and not to leave the most important part of this whole day out, here's a hand for you kids. Please give yourselves a hand for the work you've done. So just to wrap up our program, a reminder that this is WorldCanvass, a production of international programs here at the University of Iowa. We've been coming to you from the wonderful Writers' Workshop on the campus of the university. Very grateful to have been able to do the program here. We're so glad that you're able to join us, and anyone watching this program on TV can also catch it on iTunes. The podcast will be posted very soon. You can find more information at international.uiowa.edu. So for today, thanks very much. I'm Joan Kjaer. Bye-bye.